Welcome to PranaYoga Institute. I'm Dani, the founder of PranaYoga Institute, established in 2009. And we're going to talk a little bit more today about our 1,000-hour Sattva yoga therapy program. We were first accredited in 2016 with one of the first 25 accredited yoga therapy programs in the world. First, we'll talk about Sattva, the name Sattva. Sattva is often translated to balance, but it's really about finding our optimal potential to rid ourselves of habitual tendencies and behaviors that are no longer serving us. And Sattva also means discernment. So in the realm of a yoga therapist, it is about discerning how much activity and how much rest a person may need to achieve wellness. Yoga therapy is a student-centered approach, and how we teach at the Institute is also making you the center of this program when you enter. So to give you a little background history of how our Yoga Therapy Training Institute emerged, I started in 2007 as a yoga teacher working under a neurosurgeon who was way ahead of his time and wanted to bring yoga therapy into his practice. And so this was an emerging field at the time. The International Association of Yoga Therapy, had just been established. And so it was pretty new, especially in the Midwest here. And so I've been practicing clinically since 2007, and I still practice clinically today. I also run a yoga studio and offer many different programs. It's a healing arts studio now, and I'm an Ayurveda practitioner as well. And so all of this is integrated into the program here under Sattva Yoga Therapy. Why this is important is because the clinical practice is behind everything that we do. Having that real-time experience, and I really think it's one of the most rewarding professions in the world at this time, and I want to share that with you. So how the program breaks down, it is a 3-year program. So that might seem like a big time investment, which it is when you compare it to just yoga, traditional yoga teacher trainings. But yoga therapy is much deeper, and we're going to go into 1,000 hours. So it's really a master level in yoga. However, yoga therapy is different than yoga. We have different accrediting bodies. We are accredited by, like I said, IYT, which is the International Association of Yoga Therapy, versus just Yoga Alliance, which is registering yoga teachers in the US. So this is an international organization that is making strides with yoga therapy as a profession in the world. So a yoga teacher is trained in a specific style or methodology that has worked for their teachers or been part of their lineage. And we certainly have that here, as we have Yoga Alliance programs that interweave with some of the yoga therapy programs that we teach. And then yoga therapy is how do we teach to the individual in front of us. And so our program makes up this scaffolding. One of my first professions was interior design. So I like to think of it as an architectural drawing and all the different layers that go into that architectural drawing until you finally get the full picture. So that's what we're teaching through our 6-pillar approach in our yoga therapy principles modules. And these take about 2 years to accomplish and complete the education of yoga therapy. In these 6 pillars, we interweave Ayurveda with everything that we do, but you will have an Ayurveda lifestyle counseling, because as a yoga therapist, you can offer lifestyle recommendations. And we integrate Ayurveda, yoga therapy really seamlessly, but this is going to be one of our pillars. And then also you'll see that branch out into the other. Therapeutic relationship. Many times we will get the question, what's the difference between psychotherapy and yoga therapy? And yes, there is movement involved, so it's an embodiment, a somatic practice. And also we are using models from traditional yoga. But underlying that, there is a therapeutic relationship that is held at the center of a yoga therapist. And so that's an important pillar in our program. And then, of course, we have deeper understanding of anatomy, physiology, biomechanics of movement, how does breath and the loads placed on the body in our daily activities and in our life go in. Recently, one of our faculty, who's also a yoga therapist, clinical yoga therapist, went to her client's office space so she could really get the whole picture, because we're working with the whole picture in this holistic medicine. So I love that example. Yoga psychology, this is where we do start to understand the different layers of anxiety and depression from this scope of yoga therapy. And again, the yoga psychology models that we bring into these courses. That therapeutic relationship weaves in, and the trauma-sensitive training that you'll learn in our yoga psychology pillar also weaves into our entire program, because not all yoga therapy in Ayurveda is presented in a trauma-sensitive way. We also have adaptive group practices. We've been really well known, as my mentor, Yanni Chapman, I first started in Yoga for Cancer. We've become really well known for Yoga for Cancer here. And so we teach that for breast cancer and to bring into clinical experience with those programs. We've had really good partnerships and relationships with Cancer Services of Northeast Indiana since 2009, and consistency across the board for how we teach to oncology. This also goes for neurological conditions, stroke, heart disease, and many different adaptive programs that you'll find within that pillar of adapting the courses. And then one of my favorites is the business of yoga therapy, where we create a satsang group for you so you can explore different case studies together as you start to enter into your clinicals. And you have your sangha there for you, your community there for you to explore and bounce ideas off of and see and test just how much you know. We also have some business of yoga therapy where you can work with some of our clients either in person here, or everything can be done online as well, as you bring someone into your space and start to work with your mentor observing you. And then once you finish that 2-year program, and it goes a lot faster than you would think, we do give you up to 5 years to complete the whole program. So if you like that slow, steady pace, that is great. I think we rush way too much in our society. But once you finish that 2-year program, then you are a yoga therapist. So essentially you can call yourself a yoga therapist. You're just not a CIYT certified yoga therapist. So then you'll head into clinicals. And what clinicals looks like is 6 months to a year, depending if you're doing this full-time or part-time, of seeing yoga therapy clients in your community. And this might be, we've had students come in from hospitals, and their hospital will invest in them to take this training. And so then they're taking this into the hospital. Or this might be your own professional practice that you are setting up. And I love to help with people with that, because I've been in business also for 15 years. So kind of helping you troubleshoot and market and things with that. So you might be doing a partnership there, or you might be joining in with other wellness professionals and seeking referrals that way, which we should always be doing. So for that year, you're working with a CIYT, a certified yoga therapist that is through the International Association of Yoga Therapy on our team, to review every case study that you have. And so it's much like if you started out as a mental health counselor, you're going to have someone that's certified in the background to review your case. So that's what we do for that year. And at that time, once you've completed all of that, you have the education, the experience, the embodiment, and the clinical practice. Then you will head over to IYT, and we will send them a copy of your transcripts, and you can sit for the quiz if you choose, and then you'll be a board certified yoga therapist, and you'll have those initials CIYT in your background. So that is just a general overview of just what the course entails for that 3-year program. Now, how does it look once you're inside of our program? The schedule, we've made the 6-pillar schedule, and the schedule is to be bite-sized chunks that you can assimilate throughout the 3 years that you're in and training with us. We have our Foundations of Yoga Therapy, which also overlaps with a Yoga Alliance certification. I know many of you have been in the field for a long time and you have a lot of certifications. You've done a lot of training. That means you're in the right place. We love forever students. We're going to fill in some of those gaps and even have a certain untraining for some of those materials that you've learned. So our Sadhana Foundations is a bridge to yoga therapy, and this takes place 3 hours a week. We have a 1.5 hour lecture and discussion, and then a 1.5 hour practice, and then a monthly mentoring session. Then we have our pillars, our 6 pillars of yoga therapy that are going to be more of the principles of yoga therapy. Yoga therapy is yoga chikitsa. So how do we adapt to certain individuals in more of this clinical style of yoga in small groups with like conditions or one-on-one sessions? This takes place 1 90-minute session per week. And then you'll have small mentoring groups that you work with to make sure you understand the lesson and to also assist with homework. Then you have your once a month retreats, we call them. And so these are once a month weekends where you've taken the key trainings that you're learning weekly and apply them in this weekend format. So really important for you to know that you can join us from anywhere. Everything is live streamed and also recorded. You have access to the recordings for 14 days, and then we'll edit them and put them in your your lessons and your content library on our learning management platform. Then our retreats, our weekend retreats, if you're close by the Institute here in Indiana, we're pretty much a 3 to 4 hour drive anywhere in the Midwest, then you could join us in person as well, which we would love to see you in person. If not, no problem. You're going to get the same quality education, live streaming with us, watching the recordings, or again, we will edit those and upload them to your library. So just half of the material is expected to be watched live stream, which is called synchronous. The other half, you could join in asynchronously, watching them on your own and meeting with your mentors. But of course, we love to see you live stream as much as possible. What can you do as a yoga therapist? What does it look like when I graduate as a yoga therapist? So I like you to think about that, because your ability to see what you love and to understand what you really want to do is going to help you thrive as a yoga therapist. So I mentioned this before in some of our other videos, that sometimes we'll have hospitals or clinics invest in one of their physicians to come to the program. Another time it could be a change of career for you. Or maybe you're just tired of being a burnout yoga teacher running all over, and you're also starting to work with populations that need more special care. You can develop your own professional practice. This is a standalone wellness profession. Our graduates have built their own businesses from ground up as standalone wellness professionals working in adjunct facilities within the hospital system or within other healing arts like acupuncture, chiropractor, physical therapists, mental health counselors. And we've also had people go into juvenile detention centers, cancer services, grief centers to teach as well. So the possibilities are endless and infinite. It's just up to you. What do you visualize yourself doing in the next 3 to 5 years? Do you see yourself incorporating this into a clinical setting that you already may or may not be a part of? Or do you see yourself from a ground up partnering with others or being this standalone wellness professional trained in yoga therapy and Ayurveda? And take a few moments to kind of think about that and to settle in and see what's on your heart for that. I love seeing our students thrive as they do, and we have testimonials on our website as well, just showing the potential that's there once you graduate from this program with this integrated experience of trauma-sensitive Ayurveda and yoga therapy.